Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 656 for the 11th of December. And there is a weird news coming out from the Russian Defense Ministry. They say that on the 12th of December, basically this early this morning at 5 a.m. Local time, they say that the Ukrainians actually launched an attack with a Tochka U tactical missile against some facilities within Russia. And this is actually very surprising because we haven't really seen a Tochka U attack. In fact, Tochka U is being used for at least a year. I believe it's at least a year. I haven't really seen this. So this came out as a surprise that the Ukrainians actually managed to still find another rocket or missile to be used on the Tochka U. I'm quite sure they have the launchers, but I don't think they have the ammo to use it. So this is interesting news. So let's go on to the southern front. Over at the southern front, the Ukrainian forces still have a beachhead over at Kreminna, and they continue to send reinforcement into Kreminna, according to pro-Russian sources, and they are still trying to push out south within the forest region, and the Russian forces continue to hold them back and of course to bombard them. According to the information coming from Ryba, so let me pull aside. They say that there is a transfer of reinforcement and new groups from the 36, 37, 38 brigade. 6 boats each who have around 5 to 10 person each. So they move around 60 people. And at the same time, they redraw 20 wounded soldiers back over to the other side of the Dnipro River. So another 60 soldiers coming into the to the grinder. It's very interesting how this is going to play out. According to Deep State UAs, they continue to say that the Ukrainian side say that the situation continue to be very, very difficult. So I can't see why is that the case. It looks pretty comfortable to me. No, I'm just joking. Of course, it's horrible. Moving over to the Zaporizhzhia Front. Over the Zaporizhzhia Front, there is fighting continue over at the Orikhiv sector of the front line, with the Russian forces attacking from the south towards Robotyne. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry comes out with a very weird report. They say that there is a Russian attack west of Novoprokopivka. This is Novoprokopivka west. The Russians attack from this here. Are they suggesting that the Ukrainians have held positions around here? Which don't make sense to me. So this is a question mark. I don't think this is an accurate report. It doesn't make sense. Maybe east would make more sense, but however, they wrote west. So and this is repeated on both of their evening and morning report. So I can't tell why that's the case. I believe it's probably some kind of typo. It's probably the Russians attacking on the eastern part of Novoprokopivka, because we do have Ukrainian forces continue to hold a position within this salient here. The Russians attacking in this area does make sense with the attack coming from the south towards Robotyne. So further geolocation of Ukrainian forces in the trenches at this position. So that shows that the Ukrainians are pretty determined to hold a position over here. Artillery also getting hit just off Novodanilivka. So yeah, the Ukraine definitely is not giving up the fight just yet. We move on. That's all from the, I think, there's one more. Over the Velika Novosilka sector, the Russian forces attack in the northern part of Prione. This information comes from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. They said that they repelled an attack in this northern part of Prione. So let's see how this goes. This front here is getting really slow. So I don't expect much. Usually the Russians attack Staromayovsky or Uruzhaine. This part, usually nothing much. Because the Russians generally have achieved what they want strategically around this area here. Or tactically, they wanted this area here that fits their strategic aims, which is actually just to hold the front. So having tactical advantage, holding the lines that they want, I don't think the Russians will want to go anywhere tentatively. So we move on over from the Zaporizhzhia Front into the Donetsk Front. So this is the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, according to Deep State UA, they say that it's getting very concerning, particularly over at Krasnohorivka. According to them, they say that the fishermen's or F **KS I'm not sure what word is that. The fox. Yeah, the fox. You know, the spoon and fork. You know, the fox are becoming more and more, you know, active. So they wanted to eat Krasnohorivka. They want to poke it and then put it inside the mouth. But this poking is actually getting more and more active. And there are also they say that the Russian forces also getting have some partial success over in the southern part of Marinka. So the Russians are pushing Krasnohorivka. They did not particularly explain into details how is the forking happening. So and over at the Novomikhailivka, there is also reported fighting in this area here. However, according to the Ukrainian sources, they only say fighting near Novomikhailivka. That is very interesting, very interesting. Like, Kreminna. If you watch chess, you know what I'm talking about. Over in the northern part of Donetsk city is the Avdiivka Front. Over at the Avdiivka Front, we have the Russians continue their Avdiivka offensive with fighting reported east of Bakhmutivka towards Stepove at the coke plant region, south of Vasily. So south of Vasily, this information coming from Deep State UA. So this is something that they kind of acknowledge that the Russians are pushing around in the Kayamka region. They are fighting in the south, around the industrial area in the southeastern part of Avdiivka, over at Zhevny, over at Ternenke, over at Povomaisky, and particularly something new, which is actually on the eastern part of Nevelsky. We haven't seen fighting over at the Nevelsky region since forever. I think the last attack was reported on 24th of October. And you can see that the fighting over here is very sporadic. The Russians do not see this as an important place anymore. Before that, prior to maybe half a year ago, Nevelsky was a heavily fought over region. The Russians constantly keep pushing in this area here, which is kind of really unusual because this is all just farmlands, and there's no major roads around here. It's pretty unnecessary. I still feel that the attack should go down the road, but no, I'm not the commander of the the Russian armed forces, so no, luckily they are not, because everybody is just going to die. As in everyone, like both sides. So so over at this the industrial area region, there is geolocation of Russian forces taking this building. So the Ukrainian FPV drone hits the Russians that is actually hiding inside here. Previously, if you remember, if you are following very closely the DPS reporting, you will know that we had previously a geolocation of Ukrainian forces at this building, which actually caused us to change the front line. And now the Russians apparently have probably launched an attack over the past week or so. The Ukrainian forces was chased out of this area. It could also be because of the FPV drone attack that caused them to run away, and the Russian forces took up positions around here. And then they become the victim of FPV drone attack around this building in the north area of this industrial area. So fighting is currently continuing in this area here, and we have a video to show that this is the case. There was a video showing that the drone attack, the Ukrainian forces actually have some positions around here where they are using some recoilless rifle. Not sure if you know what is that. It's like a cannon kind of thing, to fire at Russian positions along the road. In this direction, they're firing at the Russian forces, probably trying to move in this direction, or probably entrench around here. And then they strike. The Russians actually strike where they went on to hide in their entrenchment. So it does show that the fighting is around this area here. And that is actually comforting to know that the mapping is right, but it's not comforting for them that it's actually fighting on the ground. So that's it from the Avdiivka Front. There's no other major developments around this area here. We move on. There's nothing at the New York Front. Oh, there is actually. There is fighting reported. This is a continuation of the previous report by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry about the fighting in the Pivnishny region. So we shall see. Moving on, over at the Bakhmut Front. This is Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, in the southern flank, we have the Russian forces continue their attack towards Klishchiivka as well as Andriivka. Otherwise, there's nothing particularly special. The Ukrainian counteroffensive over in the southern front seems to have died out, or at least for now. Because in yesterday's report, we actually also reported the yesterday's SITREP yesterday's reports because of the late reporting. So we actually also entered in the Russians' noon report. So that's why today we do not have much of this Russian Defense Ministry report in this current SITREP. So we might see more tomorrow. So it might not necessarily mean that the Ukrainian counteroffensive over in the southern flank of the Bakhmut Front is over. In the northern flank, the Russian forces allegedly is still on the attack, but of course you can see that we don't have much of the reports around here. It was not really mentioned much. Just to note that there's a geolocation of drone attack against Ukrainian forces around here. I didn't change the front line for this is because looking at the footage, the terrain, there's the lack of snow, it feels like it might be a video coming from a month ago. So I did not want to change the front line because it's not very clear to me. The geolocation is done by, I think, military summary. So they did put the date as 11 of December, but I feel like it might not be that date. So I think the date was the date of the release of the video. So we shall continue to see how this goes. To see whether we have other information to show this. There is so of the three main entrenchment, the Russian forces probably already captured this one and this one, and this one is probably now a gray zone. So the Ukrainians supposedly still have this one, but it might be a gray zone right now because it's too near the front line. We shall see how this goes. Further up, let's see. Over at Avdiivka, we have reports of fighting around this area according to the Ukrainian sources. So the fighting might be from the north, might be from the east. I'm not very sure. So let's wait and see how this goes. Just to note also that all this front line here has been updated based on the latest mapping by Deep State UA. For those that have access to this mapping, you need to be a DPA officer to have the mapping. So if you want to support me financially, do check out Patreon, Boosty, locals, or the YouTube membership. Just check the description below, and this will help to ensure that I have the financial security to continue to do all these things and not get very affected by all this fluctuation in terms of viewership on YouTube. And I can tell you it really helped a lot this year because last year we don't have that much patron, and after my appeals because of heavy censorship by YouTube or suppression by YouTube, I put the map into the paywall, and it really helped. Like seriously, it helped. So it's not even like joking. It's real. It's not really a money grabbing thing, but it really helped. So over at the Siversk Front, this is Siversk city. The Russian forces reportedly was attacking Sperne and Versailles. These are all Ukrainian sources, information from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and there is a geolocation of the Russian forces attacked by FPV drone along the railway line. So this actually corroborates SUPPRESSION Map's earlier report that the Russian forces have progressed in this area here along the railway line. This is the first evidence that this had happened. So it's interesting how SUPPRESSION Map is able to get certain information very early. But so anyway, this shows that the Russian forces continue to want to go down this railway track and towards Vimka. And but it's going to be very hard because all these railway lines are all defensive positions. So we shall see. That's all from the Siversk Front. Over at the Kreminna Front, this is Kreminna. At the Kreminna Front, the Russian forces launched attack in multiple locations, including Zaporizhzhia Forestry, Dibrova, and at Terny region. The Ukrainian forces counter-attack over at Terny region, trying to push back and retake some of these Russian gains. So currently, the situation continues to be as such. We move on further up north. There's reinforcement being reported at the Makiivka-Nevsky line. According to Ryba, Ukrainian forces continue to send reinforcement to this region here because of the recent attack in the Makiivka region by the Russian forces. So this area here is very close to the Zaporizhzhia River, the current river that is flowing down this area here. So this is actually very dangerous for the Ukrainian forces, because if the Russian forces penetrate through and able to take control certain part of this river, they can actually head to the rear positions and wreak havoc. So and then it will cause the Ukrainians to also have to entrench themselves in a much more difficult defensive positions. So we shall see how this goes. We move on. There's nothing over the Sviatove Front. We move into the Kupyansk Front. So this is Kupyansk city. This is the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, the Russian forces continue their Kupyansk offensive, with fighting reported at Pershotravnevi, Ivanivka, Sinkivka, and the south of Liman Pershi, or the west of Sinkivka, with the Ukrainian forces counterattack at Sinkivka and Petropolivka. So, according to Deep State UA, they say that the Russian forces have some kind of partial success over the Petropravnevi region. So, I always like to joke about the partial success because it sounds weird. It's like, have you eaten? Oh, I have partial eaten. Yeah, you ate. You ate. So anyway, that's all from the Kupyansk Front, and that's it. This is the summary for the day of 656 for the 11th of December. Do press the like button, subscribe. Yep, it's a shorter SITREP, but I know you like it because some of you guys have no patience. But alright. See you guys, and I'll see you in the next update.